final pieces of new hardware I'm planning on getting for my sim, I promise I'm nearly done, is this Logitech Radio Panel. Not a whole lot going on in the box. Once I finally got it torn open, we've got the control panel itself looking good. A little bigger than I expected it to be. There's an instruction manual here, and then there was also a little bag of screws and attachments. There's a modular aspect to this design for, I guess, people that are really serious about building out their flight sim cockpits, and I know that Logitech Saitek does other components in this line, so I imagine that there's ways these attach together, but for now I'm just going to pop these screws in and call it a day. Here's the unit sat on my desk, plugged in and connected to the flight simulator. It's not a massive amount going on here. You basically have two panels, or two separate controls, and you can toggle them with these leftmost switches between COM1, COM2, NAV1, NAV2, which are used for radio and navigation tuning appropriately. You then got ADF and DME. I'm not entirely sure what either one of those do. I believe that DME is something to do with distance measuring. And then the last one there, XPDR, is the transponder option. So right now we can see I have the bottom unit on transponder, and it is set to squawk on 1200. I can toggle each of these with these. For the transponder coding, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but I suppose it makes some sense. You have an inner and an outer dial, and by default the inner dial controls this rightmost value, the outer dial controls the next dial, and then if I toggle here from active to standby, we can see then that the inner dial and outer dial tune those next set of values. So it's pretty good for quickly setting your squawk when you get that instruction. For anything like COM1, COM2, or NAV1 or NAV2, the dials work on the standby frequency. So right now, for instance, both are set to 12485. If I tune, I'm tuning the standby one, so I'm not affecting what is the actively tuned one. And then when I want to toggle them, I can hit the toggle button and standby switches into active, so that you can keep your line of communication open with one controller when you've been handed off, tune in at the same time, and then switch over. All in all, seems to work pretty good. Another issue I found, if I am switching between any of these dials on the left to change the mode, for instance, switch from transponder to, the screen flicks on and off, and then when you're done, it stays in an off position. Luckily, I've realized that just touching anything else will bring both those displays back to life, but it is a little bit of a funny quirk. So the first thing is when you first plug this into the simulator, nothing happens. The screen sits there. I actually didn't know if my unit was defective. I was sort of sat there, nothing was lit up, nothing was working. I checked the USB power, everything looked good. Every other device I've gotten the flight simming, has just plugged in and worked. This didn't. This turns out this is an issue with the device driver. This isn't a flight sim issue, and it seems that Logitech is not in a huge rush to take care of this problem. So that's frustrating. The fix, luckily, is not too difficult. There is a small application you download. You can launch it manually before you start flight sim, or you can edit an XML file on the flight sim. I haven't done this yet, and that will make it launch automatically when you launch Flight Simulator. But honestly, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's a little bigger than a lot of the other peripherals I've gotten, but that's fine. I will say that the selector dials are actually really quite stiff, right? You really gotta move those with intention to get them round. I don't know if they will ease up over time, but just out the gate, I wasn't necessarily enjoying that. So looking at the avionics here in game, you can see that right now, and I'll highlight it on the screen, my radio is in game is dialed into frequency 124.850. That's whatever the default is it's landed on. I don't know what it is. But there's essentially 3 decimal places to the frequency. This unit only has 2 decimal places to the frequency. And that has already been a problem where I've tried to dial into a specific frequency and it hasn't just figured out which one I want to be. So for instance, I think, like let's just say I wanted to dial into 124.850. I moved the unit to 124.85. It showed that when I activated it, it showed that I was on 0.855 or something, like just off, and it didn't register when I hit the push to talk button. I didn't actually communicate with what I expected to. That's frustrating as well, because like it means that sometimes I'm like pushing the button and saying, you know, Houston Center, do you read me? When I'm talking to the air traffic controller, and waiting to hear back, and then it's not good. With that said, I'm not giving up hope. The functionality so far is doing a good job. I think I can work around some of that. Even if, for instance, I hit an issue and I'm not able to tune in, I can actually use the EFB to set a frequency. So looking at SPAD.neXt interface, this panels option didn't exist until I plugged this in. And when I click on it, it's come up and it can see the Logitech panel here. And it's giving me the options to add configuration. What I'm going to explore before I render judgment on this is whether or not there are, for instance, profiles available or things I can do, the really easy experience so far. Because right now, I'm going to say this is probably the clunkiest out-the-box experience I've had on a flight simulator peripheral. So I'm going to go with that. But for regulars on the channel, what does this mean? This does mean that from now on, I'm not going to be using the in-game air traffic controllers. I'm going to be verbally communicating using this to talk to, and I'm using BeyondATC, which is the air traffic controller. So it's going to be a slight difference in how I play. Just forgive me, because I'm going to fumble around these voice stuff quite a bit, including on the flight I'm about to do here. So we're just going to have to figure it out. But I'm excited. This is a new layer of immersion on the simming that feels like a natural progression from where I've gone. And I love having the ability to set the transponder with hardware dedicated to it, which is a part of, going on an IFR flight. I didn't have time to record a full flight, so I have just taken a little bit that I did record of some of the initial tower communications as I was getting ready to depart, to give an idea of how this unit works with BeyondATC. Gabreski ground. This is November Oscar 12 Sierra Bravo, requesting clearance to Williamsport as filed.
November 012 Sierra Bravo, West Hampton Beach ground, cleared to Williamsport. Radar vector Sparta, then is filed. Maintain 4,000 feet. Expect 16,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 125.975. Squawk 3644.
Cleared to Williamsport via radar vector SAS, then as filed. Maintain 4,000, expect 16,000, 10 minutes after. Departure frequency 125.975, squawk 3644, November Oscar 12 Sierra Bravo.
November 012 Sierra Bravo, read back correct. Call me back when ready for start or taxi.
This is a long taxiway.
November 012 Sierra Bravo, contact Suffolk County Tower 125.3.
Suffolk County Tower 125.3, November Oscar 12 Sierra Bravo. Suffolk County Tower, this is November Oscar 12 Sierra Bravo, requesting takeoff from runway 24. So, excited, cautiously optimistic, a little perturbed, but I'm going to persevere with this thing, and when I got some real time with it, I'll do a review, and hopefully be over some of these teething problems. But that's that. Well, that's a wrap on that one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. And remember, I'm not actually a pilot. I'm just a dumbass with a flight simulator. Catch you on the next one.